Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Every year in India, over 2 million teenagers sit for an exam. They are competing for just over 17,000 seats. That's a success rate of less than 1%. This isn't just any test. It's the Joint Entrance Examination, or JEE, the gateway to the prestigious Indian Institutes of Technology, the IITs. Getting into an IIT is seen as a golden ticket, a guarantee of a successful life. But behind this pursuit of excellence lies a hidden crisis, a story of immense psychological pressure that forges a few but breaks many. Today, we're looking at the crucible of the IIT dream and the mental health toll it takes on a generation. The IITs are India's premier engineering institutions, globally recognized for their academic rigor and the brilliant minds they produce. Think of them as the MIT or Caltech of India. The allure is immense, promising not just a world-class education, but also immense social status and financial security. The gatekeeper to this world is the JEE, specifically JEE Advanced. It is consistently ranked as one of the most challenging competitive exams on the planet. The sheer numbers are staggering. In 2023, for instance, around 2.5 million students registered for the preliminary exam, JEE Main. Of those, only about 150,000 qualified for the final test, JEE Advanced, to compete for those coveted few thousand spots. This intense competition creates a pressure cooker environment unlike any other. But the pressure doesn't just come from the difficulty of the exam itself. It's woven into the very fabric of Indian society. For many middle-class families, having a child become an engineer or a doctor is the ultimate dream. It's seen as a pathway to upward social mobility. This dream often becomes an intense, non-negotiable expectation placed upon children from a very young age. Parents invest their life savings, take out loans, and make immense personal sacrifices to fund their child's preparation. This investment, while well-intentioned, adds a heavy emotional burden. The child isn't just studying for their own future. They are carrying the weight of their family's hopes, dreams, and financial stability on their shoulders. Failure is not just a personal setback, it's perceived as letting everyone down. This societal expectation has fueled a colossal multi-billion-dollar coaching industry. Cities like Kota in Rajasthan have become famous, or perhaps infamous, as factory towns for IIT aspirants. Hundreds of thousands of teenagers, some as young as 15, move there, leaving their homes to live in hostels and dedicate every waking moment to studying. A typical day can involve 6 to 8 hours of coaching classes, followed by another 6 to 8 hours of self-study and homework. Sundays are for mock tests that last for 6 hours. There is no social life, no hobbies, no room for anything except physics, chemistry, and mathematics. The environment is relentlessly competitive. Coaching institutes publicly display the ranks of their students after every mock test, creating a constant hierarchy of success and failure. This system isolates students from their family support systems at a crucial developmental stage, replacing it with an environment of cutthroat competition. The psychological impact of this high-stakes, high-pressure ecosystem is profound and devastating. One of the most dangerous effects is what psychologists call identity fusion. Students begin to see the exam not as an event in their life, but as their entire identity. Their self-worth becomes completely entangled with their rank. If they succeed, they are a genius. If they fail, they feel they are worthless. There is no middle ground. This leads to crippling levels of anxiety and depression. Students report constant fear, panic attacks before mock tests, insomnia, loss of appetite, and complete social withdrawal. Online forums like Quora are filled with heartbreakingly desperate questions from students. You can find posts titled, "Why should I live after failing the JEE 2 times? I feel like my world has come to an end," or "How will I talk to my parents?" The fear of failure becomes an all-consuming dread, a fear of shame and humiliation that feels far worse than the disappointment of not getting into a specific college. The pressure is so immense that it leads to tragic consequences. The town of Kota, the coaching hub, has become known for its high rates of student suicide, a grim testament to the breaking point that many young minds are pushed to. But what about those who succeed? What about the 1% who make it through the gates of an IIT? You would imagine a life of relief and celebration. The reality is often shockingly different. For many, the mental health struggles don't end with a good rank. They just change form. After years of a singular focus on cracking the exam, many students arrive at the IITs feeling burnt out and directionless. They've spent their entire teenage years learning how to pass a test, not necessarily learning how to learn, how to be curious, or who they are outside of their academic achievements. Inside the IITs, the competition doesn't stop. They are now in a class where everyone was the top student from their hometown. The academic rigor is intense, and many struggle to keep up, leading to imposter syndrome, the feeling that they don't really belong and that their admission was a fluke. This can lead to a new wave of depression and anxiety. A common sentiment shared by IIT students online is, "I cracked the IIT, but I lost myself in the process." They achieved the dream, only to find that it didn't solve all their problems or bring them the happiness they were promised. And what about the 99% who don't get in? The narrative of the IIT dream often frames them as failures. This is perhaps the biggest lie of the entire system. Failing to get into an IIT does not mean you have failed at life. Countless individuals who did not pass the JEE have gone on to have incredibly successful and fulfilling careers in engineering, science, arts, and business. Success is not a single narrow path. Life is not a multiple-choice question with only one correct answer. The narrative that your life is over if you don't pass one specific exam is a toxic fiction that needs to be dismantled. So what is the way forward? How can this system be changed? The solution is complex and requires a multi-pronged approach. First, there needs to be a fundamental reform in the educational ethos of the country. We must move beyond the narrow obsession with just engineering and medicine. It's crucial to cultivate an appreciation for a diverse range of talents and career paths. A great artist, a compassionate social worker, a skilled tradesperson, or an innovative entrepreneur are just as valuable to a nation as an engineer. The system needs to create and celebrate multiple pathways to success. Second, the role of high-stakes testing itself needs to be re-evaluated. A system that judges a student's entire potential based on a single high-pressure exam is inherently flawed. More holistic evaluation methods that consider a student's broader skills, creativity, and interests over time would be a much healthier and more accurate measure of potential. Finally, and most importantly, we need to empower parents and students. Parents need to be educated about the severe psychological impact of their expectations. They need tools and guidance to provide a supportive and nurturing environment where their child's well-being is prioritized over their rank. Love and acceptance should be unconditional, not contingent on exam results. Students, in turn, need to be equipped with the knowledge and skills to manage stress, build resilience, and prioritize their own mental health. Schools and coaching centers have a responsibility to integrate mental wellness programs, provide access to counselors, and teach students that it is okay to ask for help. It is a sign of strength, not weakness. The IIT entrance exam, in its current form, is a crucible that often values competition over compassion and ranks over well-being. The challenge ahead is to transform this crucible from a space that breaks so many into one of genuine learning and growth. We need a system that nurtures not just the brightest minds, but also the healthiest and happiest ones. Because the future of a nation, after all, depends not just on the strength of its institutions, but on the well-being of its people.